Hi, everybody, and good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar. I'm Rebecca Gonzalez, and this is Kirill. We're here today to talk to you about the AEO Playbook, where we have some very interesting information. There's two parts to this webinar. One of them is what's working in AEO right now. We have a big B2B business, and we have real case studies to show you what's really working in AEO, so you'll know what to do. And then real interesting is we have Corel's going to do a live demo of a new AEO prompt tool. So without further ado, we wanted to launch a little poll, get you guys involved, and just take a second and answer this poll question. What are you most interested in? What to do now, AEO case studies, the HubSpot AEO tool demo, or the Q&A. And by the way, there's Q&A at the end. We left a half an hour. You don't have to stay at all, of course. Get on with your lives, but we'll answer any question we can about AEO and the new tool. So we've got a good amount of answers here. So I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to share the results, which indicate that 86% are interested in the AEO tool demo. Corral, no pressure.
No pressure, no
No
pressure.
pressure. You're going to be fine. And a live demo, they always go well. And then 36% are interested in the what to do now AEO case studies, which is my section. So what I'm going to do is, hi, Jack. This is an old friend of mine in the chat. Hello, Jack. But anyways, I'm gonna kind of fly through my section so we can get to the demo and get to the Q's and A's. Nobody mentioned they're interested in the Q&A, and that's okay with us. Thank you. So I did hopefully share the results. I'm going to click right one more time. Now I'm going to stop sharing. It's all this technology. So now I'm going to share slides and we're going to jump right in and we'll catch up with Corel soon. So let me do many things here. Share the slides, slideshow mode. Okay, hopefully that's going okay. And you guys can see my screen. Here's our cover page. And that was our poll. Of course, the session's being recorded. Of course, we'll send it to you. And we're going to have 30 minutes of dedicated Q&A at the end. If you want to stay and ask questions, do. Otherwise, get on with your Friday. And you're seeing the presenters, Rebecca Gonzalez, the CEO of Orange Marketing, and Corral, the director of RevOps. He's doing the live demo. So we already told you what the agenda is. And moving on,
And you're sharing the wrong thing.
I am.
Yeah, we're seeing your desktop background, not the slides that you intend to share.
This has happened to me before, and it's just so sad. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I appreciate you, Carl. Oh, that happened to me last time. Did everyone enjoy my dog? Okay. So we're going to start right here. Is it okay now? Does
Yes,
anybody
you're
know?
good.
Thank you. So, okay, here, just recovering. We're not going to spend a lot of time on what happened to AEO, but way back in the day, organic search was very high. Then it became very low. We really noticed in 2025, we noticed in 2024, but then in 2025, we realized, okay, this is dreadful. What is going on? And we learned about AI. We worked really hard on researching AI and AEO. We're not an SEO agency, but we basically had to figure this stuff out to stop the bleeding on our side too, as we were very dependent on organic search. So what broke? We know what broke. We know SEO traffic's down, PPC costs are decreasing, et cetera, et cetera. Doom and gloom. But on the bright side, the AI referred clients convert extremely well. And we've seen that in Orange marketing too, that when they come in versus via AI, they do very well. On the sales side, inbound leads are drying up because the traffic's gone. Outbound response rates are super low due to just saturation in the email channels. And there we're finding that this direct unknown pipeline, people who just come in who've typed your domain name, that that is actually growing. So all the discovery is happening somewhere else. So how does AI decide who to recommend? And this is what's been really interesting to us is that the large language models prioritize different things and they're working on it all the time. Industry publications and news coverage have become very important. Reviews have become extremely important. Being a conference speaker, getting event coverage, being in the news, very important. And having your partners recommend you, partners you're working on with external testimonials, extremely important. What does this all sound like? Old-fashioned public relations is very important. And some of it, us neglected that when we could simply buy traffic. We think that AI is tending to discount with the T, own self-promotional content, but we're going to contradict that statement later on in this presentation. So we have a case study, Amber Data, we wanted to tell you about. Coincidentally, we started in 2022 working with Amber Data, who's B2B enterprise crypto and digital asset data for institutional financial firms. Look at their, if you remember Orange Marketing's organic trend, that looked like everybody else's. Look at theirs in the top right graph, up and to the right. Their contacts staying high and flat, which is good. The CMO who came in had a traditional background as well as being very current in his digital marketing. He immediately went into founder podcast, speaking opportunities. He partnered with key publications. He engaged in thought leadership, wrote a lot of good content, and they emphasized regional trade shows. And they actually cracked the formula before anyone even knew it was a formula. And their AI traffic and AI contacts that come in are more or less through the roof. Just some examples of all of their different types of things they've been doing. Again, you'll get the slides and you can take a look at this stuff. Another thing we want to talk about is testing natural prompts in AI. And that is what HubSpot has just launched, the ability for you to test in incognito mode, different types of natural prompts in ChatGPT, Perplexity, and nope, ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, I believe, and ask natural questions. And so here's one of our clients, Chief Outsiders, who's a fractional CMO company. And if you type that prompt in up at the top, they've done so well in marketing themselves as being known for this that they come up at the top over and over again. So aren't they lucky? They're on the short list right away. So the fix, what both groups need to do right now, and both groups mean sales and marketing. So we're talking to everybody here. Oh, we've got another poll. Let's see how I do. Um, all these skills I need. Okay. Here's the poll. Has your website been audited for AI visibility? And your questions are, we've done a full audit, we've done something informal, or it's on the list. Geez, I hope to get to it. Good answering, guys. Love it. So I'm gonna couple more people coming in. Anybody else want to slip in there? Okay, I'm gonna end the poll and I'm gonna share the results. So we've got a mix of results. We've done a full audit. We've done something informal. We've kind of looked around ourselves and it's on the list of things to do. And we have answers for that as well, how you can do this easily. So I'm going to move on here. So, our main advice is for everyone to be realistic and do not cling to what's dying. Here's some things you can start with, which is go back to your media relations, get your clients, get your company into industry publications. On your review strategy, if you don't have one, get on it. I will have to humble brag. Orange Marketing started a review strategy on day one. We have 153 five-star reviews, and I've never been so glad about anything in my life, but there's no time like the present. Get in speaking slots, conferences, they generate coverage. We know AI is indexing it. Strategic partnerships, make sure if you work with companies that you're mentioning each other on your websites and you're cross promoting. It's very important to have cross linking strategies. And to the extent you have analysts in your industry, and we all do, to the extent you can get covered in whatever industry you're in, and I'm naming tech coverage here, but there's people who cover tractors and trailers and farm equipment and all kinds of things. So just make sure you get in analyst reports in your industry and that you're linked on their sites. So case study is Funnel Clarity. It's one of our lovely clients. They sell sales training. And one day their CMO got a hold of me and said, HubSpot just emailed me and wants to link exchange. And I said, you're out of your mind. HubSpot is not emailing you for a link exchange. That's clearly fraud. And so he's like, nah, they really like our content and they want to do a link exchange with us. And so over time, I got the emails. He told me about the meetings. And sure enough, HubSpot is out there aggressively doing link exchanges, getting the HubSpot.com domain on niche sites. And that blew my mind. It's my only viral post on LinkedIn, so I have to brag about it to you guys. And the comments in this post are pretty wild. And basically, people were arguing, is this real? Is this not real? They've always done it. No, they've never done it. But the bottom line is, if HubSpot's out there working for links in strategic content, we all should be. My other example is HubSpot too. What I noticed this year, I'm always watching them because, of course, we're a HubSpot partner, and they are reaching out to people in niche industries and that are aligned with them and saying, "Hey, can I sponsor your newsletter?" And that's something we could all do. If there are experts in our industries, we certainly could be sponsoring newsletters and getting on websites that way. Orange Marketing sponsored a podcast this year and asked them to put us on their homepage link or their sponsorship link. So we're all stretching here. Another case study about old-fashioned SEO, also shocking to me. Kirill kind of broke my heart one day and told me, look, I just put into a chat what are the best agencies for B2B HubSpot implementation. And what came back is, the usual suspects. But what shocked me was the references inside of, on the left side is Claude, on the right side is Gemini. I saw Blend B2B, Higher and South, and I'm like, who are these guys? And then the articles on Gemini, again, I said, who are these guys? I am not recommending this, and I'm not recommending it. We think, Kirill and I have thought about this. We've talked to other people. We think AEO is pretty stupid right now. And Google would never have allowed this. They would have validated it before they presented it. But we do believe there's a gap right now with AEO where certain listicles that one might call spam types of things are actually working. So we're not calling anyone out. We're calling somebody smart. They did it in the fourth quarter. We've seen a couple of companies do it. So we're telling you, don't discount old SEO ideas from the Wayback Machine. Listicles are an interesting way to do it. These are the top elite agencies right here, and this one is not. And what he is doing is telling AI, yeah, these guys are the top. So in a way, he's making the rich richer. But it's sort of interesting. And we just shared this with you that we all should study and learn. Another thing, going back to funnel clarity, we worked really hard with funnel clarity on AEO, and our client was just all in, and they have seen 15% conversions on AEI referred contacts, which is amazing compared to 3% organic search conversions. And we're going to tell you really quickly exactly what they did. But they made 6 technical changes. They published no content, and they got basically 5 times the conversion lift. They're in sales training and sales training consulting, and they're bigger companies than them, and AI has handed them a first mover advantage. And we think you can get that too. And they have found that their AI referred prospects are so much stronger that they've done their research. So here's what they did. This is, and we agree 100% with this, and we were following along with them. They built an FAQs page, a really comprehensive one. And by the way, we have a whole webinar on this where they elaborate in detail. And our partner, AI Trust Signals, comments on every single thing. AI Trust Signals, basically a quick plug for them. 10 bucks, you can have your website evaluated by AI Trust Signals, and they'll give you action items, exactly what to do based on results from 3 of the LLMs, 3 of the popular ones. And our client Funnel Clarity and us use that as kind of our recipe. And FAQs page, they did a comprehensive About Us page. They restructured, they did some website work on URL structure and page headers to make it more palatable for AI. They had no robots text on specific pages blocking certain things. And guess what? So did we. We're in the process of removing ours. It was a thing you did. It's an old-fashioned dev thing. I won't get into it, but they were shocked when they realized they were actually blocking the AI. They added when they'd be in touch on their contact us page. And we go into the webinar why that becomes important. And they, of course, added schema in all the strategic places. So this basic stuff has really garnered them better results with AI. And frankly, it has with orange marketing as well. We've seen the same kind of positive impacts. For sales leader, your new sales reality, and this goes with your marketing too. You have to, well, we don't believe in mass cold outreach anymore at all. And your inbound is kind of disappearing. So you have to weaponize your customers. You want them giving public reviews, not private testimonials. You want to have an event presence. You just don't want to wander around trade shows. If you've got a booth, you need to be speaking. You need to have something important happen so that the AI can surface you. You don't want to do outbound without proof. You want to reference your third party mentions. And you have to understand that when AI prospects enter your realm, they come to you, they are pre-vetted. So that is very interesting. So next. There we go. So quick case studies, and then we'll get into the demo. Reveille, Orange Marketing always ask questions about how people find us. We had a very specific case study that referenced an Eloqua migration, and AI surfaced it because nobody else had a case study. We're a small, I won't say small, there's 3,000 HubSpot agencies, let's put it that way. So we happen to have some content no one else had. And these people came basically fully vetted and signed a deal within a week. WinSafe Shutters, another interesting case. They were asking questions on HubSpot, pardon me, on ChatGPT about price. We have price on our website. We know a couple people, very important people, recommend being more transparent about pricing. AI loves it. And guess what? People exploring you on AI are asking about price. So have some answers out there. And sales leaders, our key learnings for you is AI created leads must reach sales with top priority. And sales has to know they come from AI. They're pre-qualified leads, they're farther down the funnel, and we want to remind you not to force your AI leads through a preconceived sales process. So I'm going to skip over this. You can read the slides and basically just rest assured that the window is now. You're very aware of AI and AEO. Not everyone is. Your competitors aren't. You can do this. So we're going to turn this over to Kirill and he's going to start the demo.
All right, everybody, I'm going to switch to sharing my screen and we're going to run through HubSpot's AEO tool and how you can make it useful for yourselves. I'm just going to share the content. So here is the initial screen of the AEO tool. You will access it through the marketing menu. It'll have it at the very top as AEO. I'm going to hide the sidebar now so we can see more of this screen. From, you see here, there are 4 different tabs you can look at. You have your overall dashboard, you have your prompts view, you have a view of the citations, and then HubSpot's recommendations. On the right-hand side, you can see how many of your prompts you are using. Marketing Pro, you get 25. Marketing Enterprise, you get 50. You can add another brand that HubSpot will take an extra $50 from you to track brands separately. And then you can use this button to add prompts to either add prompts one by one or generate prompts with AI. So that will be HubSpot's AI talking about what you should be asking AI. Down here, you have a bunch of different filters that you can use to see how your performance is doing specifically. Outside of the engine one, where you can choose from all 3 or ChatGPT, Gemini, or Perplexity, All of these others are purely internal to HubSpot and are just designed to segment the prompts. And when I tab over to that, you'll understand why. So these right now, these are all blended results. So this is the blended view of all of the prompts that you have provided HubSpot so far, how visible your brand is. So we're at 35%. So that's super great, not terrible. And then on the right-hand side here, you can see how that's been trending. Ours has been stable, which is kind of expected, and we haven't been super scientific with the prompts. Then on the sentiment tab, you can see, is it positive, negative? So we're at 60%, so that's positive. Yay, we want it to stay that way, head upward. On the second screen here, you can see it's the share of what it across all the prompts. Again, this is not filtered. If I filtered it down to any of those earlier filters, it would drill down. So you can see like, oh, okay, so we're showing up. We got 23% of our prompts, but that's somewhat artificial, and you'll see why. And then we have, SmartBug, Impact, New Brain Hub. Like these are big, well-known partners. So it's as expected to see these names show up. So that's good. And then on this citation analysis screen, you can see the top domains that are being cited for the prompts that you are following. So HubSpot, that's good. That's to be expected. Us, that's also good to be expected for the prompts that we're using. Clash.co, that's like a directory site, that's to be expected. So this is all good. Citations by channel. So this is HubSpot just grouping all of the different domains into different buckets. It's treating HubSpot as a peer. Earned media is earned media. Review sites, that would be like the aforementioned Clutch. UGC is user-generated content, like Reddit posts, etc. Competitors are everybody else, and then own, that's us. And then there is this citations with a brand mention versus competitors. So how often do we get a brand mention in these citations versus everyone else? Some of this is a little bit esoteric. I like just looking at this top domains one, the competitor one, just to make sure this tells us that we are actually looking at the right prompts, and the overall visibility. So the reason why these segments are important is, let's say, one of your prompts is a brand, and so you're asking how you're looking. So we have it filtered to brand, and because it's branded, HubSpot zeroes this out, and it's like, well, of course it's going to be branded, and then it looks weird, but that also modifies all of the other results. So that's why it's important to have these different groups, and you set them when you add your prompt. Well, let's go to the prompts tab first. So right now we're in branded, so it's only showing us that one. So this is when we have a handful of prompts here, where it was basically some guesses as to how our customers might be looking for us. One of the key things to remember about this tool is, aside from the AI-generated prompts, it does not do prompt research. You will have to do that. Either you'll have to take some guesses, ask your clients what they're searching for, or get a tool like SEMrush, which now has a prompt research tool that's similar to their well-known like keyword magic tool. So you can try to find out what people are actually prompting. Now there's no Google Search Console for AI right now, and who knows if there ever will be. So a lot of it is also very inferred. But you can make some pretty educated guesses. And again, much like Google, keywords matter. So we have a few. We're looking at like, all right, what are the best agencies for a B2B HubSpot implementation? One thing to remember when you are creating these prompts is it might be tempting to think in like your internal lingo, like I use the word partner here, and no client is going to use HubSpot partner. They're always going to search agency. So when you are thinking of these, think of, put yourself in the client's shoes and don't use your internal jargon. Think of how they're looking for you. You can hit prompt, we'll do manually add prompt. And then here you have the option, right? Here is where you actually enter the prompt that you want to track. And then you pick the buckets that you want it to segment to. And we have several different ICPs that we set up, and that's purely just for filtering. We have some different products, our services that we offer, and then you can also tag it by buyer's journey phase. Again, this is just if you're doing a more organized strategic view, you will have a spreadsheet where you're like, all right, here's our our awareness prompts that we want to track, our consideration prompts, our evaluation, our decision prompts, and you bucket your prompts that way. And once you add it, you'll hit add prompts, and it will take in a minute, and it will run through, and it will give you the results. And then let's look at help me find a B2B partner for my startup. Help me find a HubSpot partner for my startup. So this will be a startup related question. It will first, it'll pop out this slider, and you can make it bigger or narrower as is convenient. It will default to the answers tab, and then you can switch over to prompt analysis and recommendations. So in the answers tab, you have your 3 different engines, and you can tab over through them. It will have up to 10 runs. So it performs a run every day. And then you can scroll through and look and see, oh, what is the answer? This is a straight up like output from ChatGPT here. So it's telling you like, oh, here's how you can research things. Here's like the HubSpot knowledge base. Here are some links to HubSpot. So this ended up being an instructional prompt as opposed to an actual like recommendation prompt as far as chat is concerned. And then you can go to show all and see all the citations. Now, as you go through the different runs, you'll see it will change every day. It's not like Google where there's an index of rankings and it's pretty static with very few exceptions. With AI, it reruns the token complete process every time it reruns it. So there's no answer will be alike. So again, this is just informative. It's not like a Bible where it's like, okay, you are going to be ranking #1 for this prompt. It doesn't work that way. Like this one, now in this version, it provides a bunch of recommendations and it's top partners. It's exactly who you would expect. Now you can go through and see how the trend is, and here's all the citations. So you can go through all the historic runs and keep a track of how it's changing, whether it's going back and forth and whether or not your brand is showing up in them. And it works the same way in all of the other engines. It's just formatted differently based on how they all have it set up. You can see with Perplexity and also Gemini, I noticed that they have a bigger diversity of citations in their answers than chat has been, which again, they're always updating these models, so it can change at any time. But it is a pattern that I noticed while checking this as preparation, is that the answer diversity. And then so here's Google's, Gemini's answer. They're highlighting HubSpot Startup Partner Program, which is different from our implementation partner program, which is you actually get a big discount for your HubSpot subscription if you are a qualified VC-backed startup. So providing that information, so even though you may not have been researching that specifically, you get some extra information and you get some additional details here. On prompt analysis, so this is similar to that dashboard, of course, we saw on the dashboard screen, but it's specifically for this prompt instead of a bucket of prompts. So you see the competitor visibility, so who are the competitors that are showing up, good for those guys. Visibility rate, breakdown, and then the different citations by channel, top citations overall, and then also by content types. These are similar to what we saw on the dashboard. And then on the recommendations, HubSpot is actually providing you content ideas, both on the topic and the content type, to try to get yourself to show up for those prompts. So here's kind of, right, so even HubSpot is suggesting, hey, do the listicle that Rebecca mentioned when you talk about the top implementations, and just put yourself at the top, and maybe the AI will pick up on that and put you in the front. And it does that for each tab, for each prompt. One thing we found interesting, so here's the branded one that we do. So you want to have a branded one in here so you can keep track of how you're being talked about and whether the AI is saying the right things about you. So in our case, yes, it is. It is saying exactly what we want. We are a HubSpot B2B agency in Orange County, Diamond Partner. We have specialized, so it is reading our website. It is reading HubSpot. It is reading press releases. So that's where the PR thing comes from. It's actually picking up our press release from 5 years ago, almost to the day, when we became a Diamond Partner. Well, that's nice. And then, the same thing again with all the others. You can go through and see how it's showing up. So it's giving you like a little history. So you want it to look like you're trying to present yourself, because your prospects are probably, if they get the recommendation in that higher tier prompt, like, oh, give me some list of some agencies. If your brand, you show up, they're going to ask, oh, tell me more about Smart One, or tell me more about Orange Marketing. And you want to be tracking and making sure that it's telling the right things to the customer. Then we did these two other ones. I just kind of experimenting something. We had some conversations recently with prospects where location came up. So we've been in this world for a few years now where a lot of us, especially in the tech adjacent industry, have been like, oh, it's all nationwide, it's all global, it can serve anyone. And we had a lot of conversations more recently where with local people where they're actually caring about the fact that we're also local. And so I wanted to see like, all right, are we actually showing up good for locally related searches? And in our case specifically, I'm going to take a little moment to self-promote. We are actually the top-ranked diamond partner in Southern California. We are the #2 diamond partner in California, period. #1 is in San Francisco, and they're a lot bigger because they have offices in a few other countries. So, you know, a little moment of shameless self-promotion here. And this is where that Clutch website comes in, because they're kind of like an old school directory site, like Yellow Pages, etc. But for tech services type businesses, the more dialed into the location than say a G2 or any of the formerly Gartner properties like Capterra. And so they come in. So in this case, in this run, actually, we don't come up, unfortunately. There's another agency called Orange Pegs. So, but we have shown up in the past. And certainly chat's not liking us right now. And here, when you're here, 3 days ago, we showed up as the top for ChatGPT. So you can see the very nice consistency that we get from the AI outputs. And then again, the same thing from all of the other guys. Here we are, here we're number top. See, so Clutch. So those, if you're at all familiar with local SEO, there's this thing where you do the local citations and you have your name, address, place highlighted, all that jazz. So if you've been neglecting local SEO tactics, time to start focusing on those. Even if you're not necessarily a locally focused business, it can definitely help you get some of that, because the AI cares a lot about those things. So it can definitely help you out. And then same thing with Gemini. Again, it's going to be all over the place, day by day. You will see some consistency. You will see some people show up over and over again. And that is a recommendation on the prompts. On the citations tab, we saw some of this in the prompt specific view, where you can see how you're doing when it comes to the citations and the different overviews. So this is just a specific drill down into the citations. And the same thing with the recommendations, where you get the different recommendations. I'm repeating myself here, for what you should do to try and get rankings for all of your prompts. The more prompts you have, the more ideas it will get you. It will even offer to generate it for you. And it'll tell you the type. Oh, it should be a blog, or it should be a product page on your website, like a content idea. So this is pretty nice to have, and it can help inform your content strategy to help you rank in AI overviews. So that is my run through of this tool. I hope you found it as valuable as you expected, and I will hand it back to Rebecca for the Q&A part of this session.
Okay, I found that extremely valuable. So I always am super happy to hear that Orange Marketing is ranking well. And so I'm checking my last slides to see if they matter, because my slide sharing is challenging, but I wanted to show you guys one thing. Let me share this. We're approaching the end here. We're going to do questions, and we're going to stay as long as you have questions. And we wanted to let you know we're sending the recording, the slides, and the other resources. We've written 2 playbooks, one for sales leaders and one for marketing leaders, AEO playbooks, and they're pretty cool. And it's all the stuff we've been learning. So what we want to do now is go to Q&A. And I need to bring one thing up. I saw one question. Whoops. I saw one in the chat, and I wanted to, a really great question. Wanted to address this right now from Farman. He said Google clarified that specialized AEO or generation engine optimization GEO tactics are unnecessary for ranking in AI-powered search results. And Corel will answer this, but I'll just do your blanket answer. Everything we're talking about is stuff from the good old days. It's all local search, public relations, cross promotion. It's good marketing. So, Corel, what do you say about that? Whoops, you're on mute.
I would not consider any of these specialized tactics. I
Yeah.
would consider this basically a repurposing of existing tactics. Like, for example, I mentioned local SEO. A lot of businesses in our space have neglected leveraging those tactics because it's, for a long time, it was not super relevant to our business. And now it is. And it makes sense to go back and do all those things and make sure you have your name, address, place in the right, all over your website, and you have the schema markup. And the same thing, I mean, even the listicles and the self-promoting promotional posts, that's all been um, part of the SEO toolbox. It's just, you're taking that same hammer you've had in there and you're just hitting different things with it. One thing I will add on as we are since we're having this conversation, is you do want to make sure you're not doing anything that will make Google mad. So all established SEO, black hat stuff, you still want to avoid that. Make sure you don't do that because organic rankings are still important, even though it's change, it's a mix. Right. If Google deletes you from your organic rankings with a manual or algorithmic penalty, I would bet it's deleting you from its Gemini results, and it's going to hurt you in multiple ways. So staying on Google's good side is still important. And all of the SEO best practices about making sure you do that still apply, regardless of what's happening with AEO.
Cool. Okay, quick question. Corel, can you put AEO reports from the new tool onto dashboards inside of HubSpot?
There is, you see, you can use the custom report builder to get some of those reports onto a dashboard and have additional filtering. I haven't explored it fully in detail yet because I think they just added it to the tool, but that capability definitely exists in the custom object builder
Okay, good.
or custom report builder, not custom
It's
object builder.
such a neat tool and it's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're charging $50 for people to buy it, $50 a month for people to buy it just standalone, which I thought was interesting when they launched this tool in Marketing Hub Pro and Enterprise. Here's a good question. And Corel, I think you talked about this a little bit, but I just like it's a philosophical thing almost. AI tools like ChatGPT give different answers every time you ask the same question. If AI recommendations are that inconsistent, how do we report on AEO performance to leadership in any meaningful, repeatable way?
Yeah, I mean, that's the classic fun one. And that's like, it's the classic dance of art. Anywhere it's art and science, and you cannot always measure art. Where some of the thing, same thing like a lot of SEO things, it's just like things you just have to do and it will work. Or like, like brand advertising. You can definitely, as kind of like what HubSpot's doing, you can report on trends.
Yeah.
And even though it's not going to be like absolute and exact every time, you can still say like, oh, overall, even though it's changing, we are showing up more and more. And that's why I think HubSpot's own reporting is more focused on trends than absolute snapshots in time,
Mhm.
because you never know if chat is going to spit you out as an answer. But if it's doing it, it run it 10 times and you show up 9 out of the last 10 times, whenever a client's doing a prompt, you have a vague idea. I'm like, all right, you got like a 90% chance of showing up. So that can be like a metric.
Yeah.
It's, like, let's use the 10-day citation rate. And if it's 90%, and you have 9 times out of 10, you're showing up, you're being cited in that output over a 10-day period, that metric gives you a pretty good idea that we are going to show up for this prompt in some way. And customers will see it, and then you use that sentiment score to see, like, make sure it's actually showing up positively, and it's not saying, oh, these, beware, these guys have bad reviews, they've gotten, this
Yeah.
restaurant's got a roach infestation, they recently got shut down by the health department, things
A
like that.
couple of other easy ways you can show your leadership, especially if you're running HubSpot, is the fact that HubSpot's tagging on the impression data AI impressions on your page views. And it's also tagging, we talked about that, contacts that are coming in from AI, which you want to see growing. All the prompt stuff is leading indicators, like what Carell's talking about. Lagging indicators are contacts coming in from AI that you're sending right to sales. And that is straight to the bottom line. You should see faster close rates on that. If you can track them all the way through to deals, which HubSpot allows you to do, you should see the close rates too. So here's a question. You talked about testing AI tools in incognito mode. How often should companies be doing these AI visibility audits, and should they be tracking results in a formal way? Corral, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, so kind of similar with checking search rankings in incognito. It's obviously not scalable. It's more like a
Right.
spot check or a sanity check for yourself. Like when you see something pop up, oh, is this right or not? And then again, kind of similar to an SEO audit, you don't need to be doing it full time. It's definitely worth. So you have a HubSpot
Monthly.
AEO tool set
Yeah.
up or SEMrush, you check in at least once a week.
Mhm.
As you publish content and you kind of see, like, are things moving in the right direction for you? Because it's so you rapidly changing. But you definitely want to stay abreast of it. Again, if for no other reason than to be aware of things, sentiment going down,
Mhm.
things reflecting negatively. If you get a lot of reviews, if you're a review heavy business, it will pick up quickly on negative reviews, and you want to be, kind of, another classic SEO tactic. You want to make sure you respond to those negative reviews, try to get people to change them or remove them if you address their concerns. So, classic reputation management. So I would say at least track it. Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's Jack Crawford.
That's correct, Jack.
Yeah, when in Google AI mode, incognito returns different results than you might imagine. Personalization, if user opts in, drastically changes results. It's just not like search on Google. On others like Perplexity, you might not even be able to search without authentication. It's exactly right, because
Yeah.
of course
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
testing
so
launch
you can with
marketing all the
Perplexity,
time.
because that was how I first came across those slides that Rebecca showed with the results.
Made me so
Uh,
mad.
I was able to do it, but Google also personalizes your results. So if you're in incognito, it will be different than when you are logged in.
Yeah.
So that's been well known for a long time. So yeah, it's exactly it's not, incognito is not personalized, and that's how you get an idea of like what it will tell a random user versus it tailoring it to your results.
That's why the prompt tools are interesting, because they every different people who were early in talk about their
Yeah,
spreadsheets and their incognito mode and how they're doing all this. And I looked at these tools early in, they were $300 a month, and I'm like, I'm just not doing this. And so it is mimicking incognito mode. So thank you very
yeah.
much, Jack. And then I think that's our last question, or near to it. We'll ask one more question. It's a little bit HubSpot related. But last question, Corel, it's definitely for you. And I want to say thank you to everybody as we wrap this up. We really appreciate your time and attention. We know everybody's busy. How can we use AEO triggers in workflows to move customers to the bottom of the funnel?
So what you would do,
Tricky question.
if HubSpot, if they come through a link on chat or Gemini or Perplexity, HubSpot has these organic or original traffic source bucket of AI. It segments them, it puts them in their own bucket. And you can use that as a filter for your workflows to say, like, oh, if someone fills out a form and their
Alert.
original traffic source is AI, you send them down an entire different process when, if it's creating a lead or creating a deal, however you were leveraging HubSpot for your lead flow. Or if it's just a contact, you set them into their own lead stage or their own lead status. You put them in their own special zone as down the funnel, and you send a special notification to your sales team, however that works, that, hey, here's an AI lead. Make sure you follow the AI process, right? And kind of go back to Rebecca's earlier point. You might even want to have a playbook for specifically for AI source leads as opposed to everyone else, so that your reps can be trained like, oh, if this isn't called out as an AI lead, right, we do it this way instead of that way. If
Yeah.
you have an SDR and an AE handoff process, you might
Skip
even want to
it.
skip the SDR and send them straight to the AE because that person already knows they want to talk to you. They've already researched you. They've pre-qualified themselves.
Yeah.
So, and they're probably not even, they want to talk to the AE. They might even get offended that you have an SDR reach out
They
to you.
might if they're a technology
But
person.
yeah, so
So
that original traffic source is AI. That is your best or latest traffic source.
yeah.
Actually, would be better because that covers
Yeah.
reconversions.
Yeah.
But those are your best properties to use in HubSpot for routing your AI source leads in to a
Well, very good.
specific flow.
So, whoops. I think that's the last question. So we want to again thank you guys and thank you, Kirill, for doing the demo. I knew everybody would want to see that right away. And have a great Friday. And that's it. So thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.